in the tradition of yoga, it is stated that the most important element is one's meditation, which means one's focus on a thing, an object, idea, and so on. So the most important element is this focus, and they call it meditation. In some other traditions could be called a prayer or whatever, but the point is that our attention, there's an object of our attention. And so the most important element in the tradition of yoga is considered this attention, which is often named meditation. But then they say that this tradition, the tradition of yoga, says that there's even one element which is even more important than this element, which is kind of hard to imagine because attention is pretty much all there is. I mean, our attention defines our future, defines so much, who we are, who shall we turn into, or what shall we turn into. But there is yet another element or principle which is more important than the attention or meditation. And this is known as Sangha. And Sangha, there's no English equivalent, is usually translated as company or association. The people, the ideas, the objects, the situations that you expose yourself to. Why this is so? Because consciousness is sort of like a sponge, and it tends to take on, doesn't have to, but it tends to take on the qualities of the environment or the circumstances that it finds itself in. So, therefore, in the tradition of yoga, it's stated that Sangha, that the association or the company of Sat is most important. And Sat refers to those who are on the transcendental path, and especially if they're transcendentally accomplished, if they're spiritually accomplished. So to have company of this kind of individuals is said to be even more important, because this will fortify one's focus or one's meditation. And so when it comes to company, this is the crux of the presentation, and it will end here. So it'll take just another few minutes. If you missed anything thus far, try to grab this. So when it comes to keeping this company of Sat, or company of transcendentalists, or on the transcendental path, there are 6 principles that you can practice to bring this to fruition. And they're so simple you won't believe it. As a matter of fact, you could practice them in any other relationship. Like I practice, because I know these 6 principles, I practice them nearly every time I mess up my relationship with somebody. If I hurt someone incidentally or intentionally, and later on felt sorry about it, I use these 6 principles to fix stuff. And basically, I say 6, but these are actually 3 principles with 2 polar opposites. So these 3 or 6 principles are as follows. So, if you want to fortify your meditation, if you want to fortify your spiritual focus, you hang out with those who are spiritually focused, and you hang out with these people in these 6 capacities. And here we go. First one is that you give a gift to this person. Number 1. Number 2 is the opposite. You accept a gift from such a person. Like, to give these are said to be priti lakshana. Lakshana means symptoms, and priti means like a sweet attraction from the heart. Sometimes, for the lack of a better word in English, called love. But I heard that Eskimos have like 60 or so many different terms for snow, just because they're snow experts. So similarly, in the tradition of Bhakti Yoga, they're so experts in devotion. They have dozens and dozens of terms that don't mean love, but different aspects of it. Like that. So priti means that it's sweet attraction from the heart. So if you offer a gift to such a person, you give it with with a glad heart, with happiness. And also, if the gift is given, then you accept it in such a way. So we got 2 down. The third one is that you give some, and this is very specific. Okay, here we have gifts. Now we're giving again, but this is not considered a gift. It's just called food. You give food, and especially if you can give sanctified food procured by non-violent means. So it's nobody's limbs and stuff. So you give food. Really, to feed someone increases intimacy. And also to accept to be fed by such a person. As a matter of fact, in India, they even nowadays, they always surprise me when they do. Not everywhere in India, but especially in Bangladesh. Well, Bangladesh is not anymore India, but it used to be. Bangladesh and Bengal, this is like basically same people, speak same language, same culture, same tradition. And they sometimes, you see them when they sit together, they feed each other. They like learn to feed each other. If you not practice that, you can practice at home before I do it in public. Anyway, just a little deeper. But nevertheless, so give gifts and accept gifts. Then offer food and then accept food or being fed. So we got 4 down, 2 more to go. And so the 5th one, the 5th and 6th one really increase intimacy. So the 5th one is to reveal one's mind in confidence. In other words, we all have certain stuff in our minds which is kind of confidential. We just don't go around and tell everybody about it. But the people who we tell are confidential things. We're definitely going to increase intimacy between us and that person. And the opposite of this is to hear someone revealing their mind confidentially. Not like, and I myself made that mistake a few times, and I vow not to do it ever again. But you know, when someone reveals their mind in confidence, then we say, no, we're not going to tell anyone. And then we tell someone and tell them not to tell anyone. Then before you know it, everyone knows it. But if you keep that kind of a secret, it increases intimacy between us and that person. So these are said to be Shat Vidhi Priti Lashana, or the 6 exchanges that bring about intimacy. And they're specifically advised to be practiced in the company of those who are on the spiritual path or spiritually accomplished. And by doing this, our own spiritual life will increase, which is a very interesting thing. Now, last little detail for tonight is that I don't know if you noticed, but that's exactly what we do here. We invite you all here. And we try to engage you in these six aspects of a sweet relationship, and we try to entangle your hearts. We're casting the net. It's a beautiful net. And so what we do, we haven't done it yet tonight, but we will. We'll soon feed you all, and you will hopefully graciously accept it. And then we'll shake the donation box. And then you will give gifts, and we will graciously accept it. I'm just kidding. And then in terms of confidentiality, in terms of opening mind in confidence, really when it comes to a spiritual type company, association or exchange, this really ultimately refers to just discussing spiritual, I don't want to call them secrets, but what's not a secret to one person may be a secret to another person. So to expose, to share spiritual truths with other spiritual people on the spiritual path, it increases this intimacy, and it increases the quality and quantity of the spiritual atmosphere. So that is pretty much the program that we do here, and in this way we try to spread this network of bhakti or spiritual devotion, spiritual love all over the world. So we practice it with you, and we hope you practice it with others, and may it grow in this way.